You know, it's funny how life can pull the rug out from under you when you least expect it. I was sitting in my penthouse office overlooking Manhattan, surrounded by glimmering towers, and the perpetual buzz of ambition, and yet I felt hollow. Just a year ago, I was a self-made billionaire CEO of Chen Industries, chasing dreams that left me with nothing but a mountain of paperwork and an empty social calendar. My relationships, a string of failed romances and friendships that faded because, well, I was too busy making money to actually live. Friends told me I was destined for greatness, but all I felt was the weight of expectations and an empty seat at the dinner table. But then everything changed in a blink of an eye. One ordinary day, while preparing for what I thought would be just another routine conference call, the maid's daughter answered my private line, her voice bright and unfiltered. This kid, Maya, little did I know she would be the spark that ignited a fire within me. A warning slipped from her lips, words tinged with wisdom that seemed absurd at first, but would soon unveil betrayal, lurking in the shadows of my own company treachery I never saw coming. I was a man who put work first and pushed relationships aside like yesterday's news. For me, life was about numbers, but Maya's innocent insight was about to shatter my world and reshape my destiny, leading me on a journey far deeper than any balance sheet or quarterly report. I remember the moment my world shifted. 1 minute I was a king in my castle, and the next I felt like a jester mocked for his folly. It all began with Maya's voice. Mr. Chen, you need to watch out for David, she said, her small face serious as she stood in my office doorway, disruption cutting through my focus. He's not who you think he is. I brushed her off, entangled in my own ego. Don't you have a game to play, kid? This is adult business. I sneered, expecting her to retreat, but she stood her ground. You'll see. It's all a trick. I left her words to tumble into the background noise of my ambitions until they crept back in like shadows that loomed larger and larger. The disbelief echoed. Could this child truly hold the key to the treachery brewing beneath the facade of my empire? Silly, right? Yet there I was poring over deals and correspondence, like a detective piecing together a crime. Days turned into a blur of sleepless nights, scouring files and piecing together the warning signs. Every suppressed laugh from David, the man I trusted more than my own blood, felt like a slap to the face. "You're paranoid, Marcus," he'd say, steely confidence dripping from his words. "This is business. Just keep your head down." But was it paranoia to question the motives behind the smiles? Maya throwing unexpected truths down like breadcrumbs was becoming more than a nuisance. Against my pride and better judgment, I let her in, searching for validation in her innocent observations. I was a fool, willing to trust a child over my seasoned CFO. But as I sifted through the evidence, a darker truth began to materialize. David's hands were stained with deceit, and I was the blind man taking every step, trusting the light. The tension crackled in my office as realization dawned. I'd been so determined to climb higher, I'd lost sight of the very foundation beneath my feet. It was infuriating betrayal by someone I had considered a brother. Anger twisted in my gut, mixed with disbelief that clawed at my insides. "You won't get away with this," I whispered to the empty room, a promise to myself. My trust wasn't easily shattered. I would fight back. I would not let his betrayal define my story. My kingdom, my livelihood depended on it. And maybe, just maybe, this child, this beacon of authenticity, was the guiding light who could help me reclaim it all. It was like trying to climb a mountain wearing flip-flops. Every step forward just invited another obstacle to trip me up. When Maya first dropped those bombshells about Jang, I felt this flicker of hope. I thought maybe, just maybe, there was a light at the end of this financial tunnel. Spoiler alert, there wasn't. I tried to dig deeper into Jang's finances, but let's just say corporate lawyers are not fans of an amateur with a knack for guessing the right passwords. I made more calls than I could count, only to be met with blank stares, or worse, polite chuckles. "Oh, Marcus, have you been drinking too much espresso?" Yes, I had, and not just because of the caffeine. It was the frustration that kept me wide awake at 3 a.m, staring at spreadsheets like they held the secrets to the universe. Public opinion, talk about a nightmare. Everyone was pouncing on the chance to call me a fraud. Articles popped up left and right. The Billionaire exposed. If my life had become a reality TV show, I was definitely the villain. Lovely. Nothing screams redemption arc like being publicly dragged through the mud, right? But here's the thing. Every sarcastic comment cut like a knife, sure. But somewhere underneath the frustration, I felt this burning determination. With each rejection, a stubborn part of me grappling with how to turn this ship around fought back. I could almost hear Maya's tiny fierce voice echoing in my mind. "Are you really a good person? I wasn't just trying to save my company anymore. I was trying to save myself. So yeah, I might have been down, but I was damn well not out." A storm was brewing, and it was about to make for one hell of a showdown. He sat in the corner office, a titan brought low. The city outside thrummed a pulse he once thrived upon. But inside, silence crept in, wrapping around him like a shroud. Failed ambitions, hollow victories. His carefully constructed empire felt like ash in his mouth. He had no friends, no one left to trust. Just betrayal lurking in the shadows. Then came a whisper. Maya. The sound of her name pierced his despair, clearing the fog in his mind. She stood there, tiny yet towering in her conviction. "Marcus," she said, voice steady. "They're coming for you." Light flickered a spark. He recalled the way she had dissected the conversations he dismissed, how her eyes lit up at the thought of justice. Suddenly her child's mind seemed like the only light in his darkened world. He could choose blind anger or clarity. A raw realization cut through him, a choice he had avoided for too long. "You're right," he whispered. The air shifted, a shift from despair to determination. He would not succumb to betrayal. The instinct to fight surged within him, ignited by her innocence. Genuine fight, the kind that demanded more than money. It required integrity and vigilance. He rose, heart beating with purpose. "I will protect what's mine," he declared, internal strength building as he looked into her trusting eyes. He could be more than ambition. For the first time, he envisioned a world where success wasn't solitary, but shared. "I need you, Maya," he said, feeling a warmth spread. Unstoppable. Together they could unravel the fabric of deceit woven in his empire. The fire lit, and he was ready to turn it into a blaze. As the sleek boardroom doors slid open, Marcus Chen stood tall, the weight of anticipation heavy in the air. Today was not just any day today, marked the turning point of his life. The room buzzed with tension, an air thick with the murmurs of deal makers, but his eyes were focused, centered on what mattered. The evidence gathered with Maya's help lay neatly in front of him. Documents tied together with a simple clip, a profound testament to a child's insight. As he faced the assembled investors, including David Zhang, the man who was once his trusted ally, Marcus took a deep breath, steadying his pulse. The sunlight poured through the expansive windows, casting lines of light that danced across the table. His voice, normally laced with arrogance, trembled just slightly as he addressed them. Before we proceed, there's something you all need to see. The tension melted into gasps as he revealed Zhang's betrayal. With every word, Marcus peeled away layers of deception, the truth rushing to the forefront, filled with urgency. Witnessing Zhang's facade crumble was cathartic. A quiet smirk forming on Marcus's lips as he realized the power of honesty, of integrity. A stark contrast to the loneliness that once haunted him. When the FBI agent stepped in to arrest Zhang, the moment felt surreal, a cinematic climax where justice met redemption. But it was in that instant, surrounded by shocked faces and the swirling chaos of the room, that he found something deeper. A newfound respect for vulnerability and an admiration for the alliances he'd forged with Maya and Carla. As the dust began to settle, Marcus felt the scars of past betrayals linger. But with each step toward redemption, those scars transformed into badges of honor. Success hadn't wiped away his pain. It had given it meaning. And as he left the boardroom hand in hand with the remarkable duo who had taught him about connection and courage, he glanced back with a humble smile that spoke volumes. The journey was worth every struggle. As we reach the end of Marcus Chen's journey, we're left to reflect on the transformation catalyzed by a little girl who seemed to have nothing to offer but a moment of truth. Marcus learned that power can be a double-edged sword, capable of building empires, but also of isolating the very soul that drives ambition. He shed the armor of arrogance and absorbed an essential lesson. Trust is the bedrock of genuine relationships, not just transactions. However, this brings us to a complex moral crossroads. Was Marcus's fight against betrayal ultimately an act of justice? Or was it simply a dark quest for retribution? When it comes down to it, revenge and justice often share a blurry line. Where does one end and the other begin? Did Marcus truly change, or did he just find a new way to wield his power? In a world that often prioritizes wealth over meaningful connections, we must ponder whether it's our failures that shape us most profoundly. Is failure perhaps a blessing in disguise, a glimpse into who we might become if we allow ourselves to learn and grow? As Marcus embraces the love and community he's built with Maya and Carla, the bonds he forged far outweigh the billions that once defined him. So I pose this question to you, dear viewers. Are you a good person, or are you simply a product of your choices? Join the conversation below, share your thoughts or experiences. Let's explore what it means to find redemption in unexpected places and challenge one another to forge connections that matter. After all, In the end, what defines us isn't merely the empires we create, but the hearts we touch along the way.